Buongiorno, welcome back to WGGMBUCC, the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships, here on the white sands of Seamus in the southeast of the island of Sardinia. It is a beautiful day, perfect conditions for Ultimate, nary a breath of wind, temperature's probably about in the mid-20s at the moment, and it's just, it is idyllic, it is scarcely believable. And I am thoroughly delighted to be able to bring you coverage of our first game of the day, the last matchup in Pool A, man down versus Team Finland. I am getting a nice little wave to family at home. I am Benjamin Rees, and I am joined by, I'm trying to think of the best adjective.
I thought you'd forgotten my name for a second.
I mean, that would be pretty embarrassing, given we've been working together pretty much non-stop now for the past few days. It's Ali Thomas.
The indescribable Ali Thomas.
There we go. See, it's almost like we planned that and I set you up for it. We didn't, by the way. It's just yeah, isn't it glorious?
It's so lovely here in Vilnius. I think it's weather report, it's 22 degrees, so a lovely kind of balmy, not too hot, even though the sun is, the sun is warm, but nothing like how it's going to get later in the day.
No, previous days this week, it's been a little bit hazy sometimes. The clouds kind of lowering down over the mountains in the distance, but today, I mean, it is pretty much, I was going to say clear as day, obviously, but it is a more picturesque scenario I can barely imagine.
And the sea as well, it looks almost like a lake. It's so flat and so calm. Which
is weird because when we had the windier conditions earlier in the week, I mean, the waves in the Med were fierce.
They really were.
Decent beach actually this for kite surfing, windsurfing, stuff like that. But at the moment, as you say, it's pretty much flat as a pancake. Do you eat pancakes an Italian thing? I don't know.
Not as far as I know.
It's kind of more French.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
It's flat as a pizza bread.
There we go. That's it.
Flat as a ciabatta. Well, actually, anyway, the point remains. We are here at WGGMBUCC, bringing you action from Pool A. It is man down versus Team Finland. Both of these sides kind of jockeying and jostling for position in this pool. Both have their spot in the bracket sewn up, and the winner of this game will finish the pool stage in second, and the loser in third. So it's about giving yourself the easiest crossover possible.
So both of these teams, I believe, are undefeated, bar one loss to America, of course, the top seed and 2018's winners. So this, in fact, I heard some man-down players saying earlier that this would be a tight game and a tough game. So I think both teams are expecting to really have to fight this one out.
In previous games, we thought maybe this might be decided by which team gets the better of the conditions early on. But, I mean, this is not challenging conditions.
Bar the fact that it is beach, which is a challenge all in itself.
Yes, but one that hopefully at this point in the tournament they have got used to. So after this, we play the last round of pool games from Pool B. We'll be bringing you coverage of the Tragic Hips. We saw them again a couple of days ago. And the first appearance on the stream for the Great Swedes in a really, really tight Pool B. And then after that, lunch break, and then we go into the brackets this afternoon. So it's really getting down towards the business end of the tournament. And maybe if you're these teams, you're thinking, okay, so it's not lose and go home like the bracket would be, sort of. But, this is a very important game to take that momentum into the bracket and also to kind of give yourself the easiest quarterfinal possible.
Certainly, and I think both of these teams are probably also thinking, they've only got today, which is 2 games, and then tomorrow, which is 2 games. So not a lot of games left here in Sardinia, and not a lot of time left to enjoy these beautiful surroundings and this beautiful tournament.
So as the pink Euro disc is pulled for the first time today, it is man down beginning the game on offense. Colin Smith doing a lot of give go with Fletcher in the handler set. So now they're going to try and find a reset. Schaff goes into the middle. Here is Smith. Lead throw. Just about sneaks that one through to Steve Lacrosse. That ponytail sticking out the back of the orange, yellow trucker cap. I have no colours. And then, oh, a floaty, dangerous hammer. Kind of players scrambling underneath it. And in the end, D goes Team Finland's way.
Not a lot of options for Lacrosse there. Lots of movement, but not much free.
So Team Finland had the disc for the first time. Tapio Arumo, who had an excellent game in this last game we streamed yesterday against Flash from the UK. Now they're going back to Hestbacker. We saw what a formidable goal scorer she can be. But at the moment she's got the disc in her hands. Not too far out from the end zone. Lead throw. Hits Arumo in stride. Think about the dish in and instead goes back to Arista Niemi. Here's Hestbacker. Hestbacker's going to take up line. Plants goes back into the backfield. Not there, and instead eventually they stay calm. They stay cool. That is trademark Finland. And Arista Niemi gets the score. It's the first point of the game, and it's the first break of the game. 1-0 the Finns lead.
I mean, you took the words out of my mouth there with trademark. We saw them yesterday on the stream, just a really kind of classy coolness that the Finns show all the way up the pitch, but especially near the end zone. Just completely unfazed, happy to swing it round the back for as long as needs be for an option to open up.
If you're thinking about maybe the archetypal Finn, it is that player who is cool, who is calm. You know, that is, it's what you associate with Finland as a nation, I think.
Used to the cold.
Yes. So this is a, slightly I mean, they're used to playing on the white stuff, although in Finland it's snow and ice rather than sand.
A lot slipperier than beach.
Right. But probably an equal fitness battle. It is Vaskio who will pull for the Finns. It's going to be fielded at the back of the end zone by Smith. And Smith finds Tolchin. Trying to get their offense moving downfield. The Bonge clears out, a couple of undercuts come. Inside break to space. The Bonge catches it, fakes the around. Now turns to look infield. Still count rising, a little bit cluttered, a little bit clogged. But in the end, they find the throw to that is Stewart. And now they're working it down the far sideline with Tolchin. Tolchin low, does LeBon scoop it up? He does indeed. Nice snag that under tight pressure. Just about snatching it before it went off the sand. And then the up-line cut for Drew Tolchin will do the business, 4-man down. They're tying it up at 1 apiece.
Able to just get behind Jan Kusinen there, who wasn't able to turn fast enough to catch up in the end zone. So super free up the line. So even though it's kind of the first couple of points of the day, already you can see that the effect that beach can have on some of the players as they come off the pitch, because you have to work so hard every point. You cannot afford to be a passenger. Team Finland only bringing 11 players to this tournament, 10 being the minimum, whereas Man Down have a significantly longer roster with 16. So having that extra line can really make the difference, especially as we come to, past the halfway point of this tournament.
Yeah, each team's played. Yeah, this is we have exactly just past the halfway point. Each team plays 8 games, 1 morning and 1 afternoon game each day. So this is the 5th game of the tournament for these sides. So a little bit over halfway, and as you mentioned, yeah, that little bit of extra fitness that having those players that a larger roster provides might be the difference, especially the deeper this tournament goes. First D-line coming out today for Man Down is going to be Charles Shane Seal.
Although they have 6. Oh no, it's just someone standing on the sideline very close to the pitch.
Yes, it is. That I was like, no, they don't. I was like, oh, it does look like they do. Yeah, I'm sure he's just making sure that they're staying on side. They've also got Wang, Reardon, Stewart, and Pletcher on for this D-line. Pulling it towards the back of the end zone, and someone clearly had their Weetabix for breakfast.
A bit of a side of spinach, perhaps.
I'm trying to think of. I'm not clever enough to have what an Italian equivalent would be.
They have Popeye here too. Spinaccio.
See.
Although they call him something different, and I'm not entirely sure. If there's any Italians in the live chat, what do you call Popeye in Italian?
I will also take the. I was going to say American, it's American or Finnish equivalents. Manninen checks the disc in after rocking it forward to the brick mark with the distinctive backwards 4. On his back in a lead throw into space, looking for Charanta. Charanta's got it, but he's not in bounds. At least according to the man down players who were looking on the pitch and down the sideline.
Is that an official call? Oh, no, he called it.
And they had a little bit of discussion, were asking if we got a good shot of it. And I think I don't think he had any contact with the ground when he made the catch, and the first point after he landed might have been past the line. So here's a man down with a chance to level it, to get back on serve. Reardon's got to get on his bike, and just a bit too strong. We know that Reardon can really go when he wants to, but I'm just asked a bit too much of him.
That was a really impressive turn of speed, and you can tell that someone's really putting the jets on when you almost forget that they're running on sand. I would totally have believed that was, grass or some other surface, given how fast he was moving.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's just like this guy's going to chase down this disc. No, he's got to chase down this disc on the beach. So Manninen will walk it to the front line of his own end zone. Sagging off the far handler to invite the swing, clog those lanes downfield. The swing does go, and now they're finding it on the far sideline in the hands of Orimo. Getting it up line with a slightly bladey disc. What a layout. Picture perfect from Juhani Ristaniemi. But that time tried to jam it in the jam hole once more, and they were wise to it. Pletcher's not hanging about. They want to strike while the iron is hot. Loud shouts from the sideline of run them. Use that numerical advantage to their benefit. Here is Stewart. Stewart goes back, takes the poached player in Pletcher. Again, they're doing the right thing here, happy to just work it round the back while players try and free themselves up downfield. Eventually they do find the tireless Reardon. That one is towed in on the sideline by Cao Wang, wearing that distinctive orange bucket hat. And we're back on serve, man down lead 2-1.
Excellent footwork from Wang there. He was moving quite fast, so be able to slow his momentum, kind of dig his toes into the sand almost to keep him on the right side of that orange line. And it was his birthday yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Or was it
yesterday, 2 days ago. It was his birthday this week.
51 years young. He was sang "Happy Birthday" in one of the Spirit Circle games.
Yeah, it was really nice actually. It's a lovely little moment, especially when what I like is when you see them at international tournaments, is you see them play teams from different countries. And then you get the different versions of Happy Birthday in various languages.
Aww.
I find that, strangely heartwarming. Well, actually, I don't think it is that strange.
Just a pronunciation note, thank you very much from the chat. The oo in Kuusinen is a long sound. Apparently, if it's short, it's an unfortunate word for a person covered in urine.
That is very good. I shall make sure that it is very much a Kuusinen.
And how wonderful that there is a specific word for that particular scenario.
Right? Yeah, this is one of the marvels of language, is that you find, there's not the thing we have a specific word for, and vice versa. It's interesting. I shall remember to drag out that oo sound, Kuusinen. But thank you to everyone who is getting involved with us in the chat here on the ulti.tv YouTube channel. As Michael Hastebacker throws the first pass to Timo Vasquio. Very loud sidelining again, trying to stop that deep shot, but eventually it goes. They're looking for a player in stride, and Vitari makes the catch under tight pressure from Bendix. Tied up once more at 2-2.
Really excellent reading and also boxing out. He had his shoulders square, so Bendix there was no way for him to try and get a bid without having to go through Vasquio?
Vitari.
Vitari, excuse me.
So 2-2. Both sides have one break on the board. And it's looking like a tight contest, which is kind of what you'd expect given the given that they've had the same results in their pool games. This is a lovely deep look. You can see why they were trying to stop it going, because, yeah, as you mentioned, get fully boxes out, goes up, not a huge amount of pressure on the catch because the hard work's already been done. And Finland, they have the throwers, so you've always got to be wary, whoever's got it, that it can go long at any moment. Especially with this lack of wind that we've got here. You know, you can see the Eurodisc flags on the far sideline not moving at all. Yeah, it is a far cry from the rest of this tournament, and it's a different challenge where all of a sudden, you know, you've got the wind to your advantage perhaps because it gives you an extra defender almost sometimes. Now that's not something you can play with, so you've got to really adjust to the fact that those deep looks are going to go with a lot more regularity. Here's Goldsmith. He finds Lacrosse looking underneath, thinks about the inside, eventually just about squeezes that backhand through. Was not much of a window, but he found it, and then takes advantage of the face mark. Continuation to the break side from Pletcher. It finds Tim Goldsmith. Going to please his viewing public back home, and another man down lead. It's 3-2. That man-down offense was very slick. Lots of very short passes, keeping the stall count low. A couple of cheeky throws, the sort of forehand side backhand that is often associated with dads at barbecues. But, you know, credit to them, really beautiful, crisp offense. Yeah, it was like, it was quite a short throw to often get that inside-out shape on it. So if you could think you can squeeze the as you mentioned, the unorthodox backhand in there, it's an interesting choice of throw, and it worked, and then good continuation to the break side. Saw the face mark very quickly, and with the player out of position, continuation to the break side, almost unstoppable. And there you are, seeing that they are not, they're barely, I mean, I don't know if I say they're barely moving, I don't think they're moving at all. It is that still here, and it is weird. I'm not going to lie, it's been so windy. It is a bit weird. I think you tend to associate beach ultimate often with being a bit windier, so to have a day that is perfectly still and calm like this is quite unusual. I'm not sure it will last, but we will see. This is another lovely ball from man down that Michael Hastebacker fields in his own end zone. Lead throw, finds Vitari. Vitari dishes it into the centre. Continuing towards the far sideline for Vasquio. Vasquio, high release down the far sideline. Vitari jumps and keeps himself in bounds. Thinks about the lead throw instead. Takes the swing into the centre. Going to sit that one out into space. Beautiful offence there from the Finns, 3 apiece. Really lovely arcing shot there. I will say, I was watching Pia Hesbacher in that point, and she did not stop running right until the very end. She has got such a pair of legs on her. Every time she was looked off, she cut back, cleared out, sprinting all the way, and that is so impressive to me. Seeing it again here on the replay, it's that cut comes all the way from the far side, and the defender's just on their heels ever so slightly, and that's all the signal that Vitari needs to be able to charge off deep. So we're now at 3 for Team Finland and 3 for man down. Is that right? It is 3-all, yeah. This is what you love to see, isn't it? Nice tight games deep into the tournament. Just under 15 minutes gone in this game. Games are played to 13 or 45-minute time cap, and then you take half at 7 or 25 minutes. There's a half-time cap as well. Lovely floaty pull. Everything just feels a little bit more serene on the beach this morning without that wind. Tolchin wearing an awful lot of sunscreen, resets into the centre. Can never be too careful. No, I agree. Here's Barney. Whoa, delicious around break. Smith in the middle to Tolchin. Oh, that is a thing of beauty. Look at that, just completely pinballing the disc around into the end zone. Bang, bang, bang. How do you stop that? I mean, the Finns, we saw them yesterday. They are incredibly cool on offense, and I think man down are mirroring that. I would like to see, I think, a bit more maybe intensity from the Finns on defense. I do appreciate it is warm and the sand is hot,
But we know they have that defensive intensity. We've seen them put it on. Maybe they're waiting perhaps for a bit later in the game to kick it up another notch.
I mean, the disc is barely in anyone's hands for longer than a couple of seconds. It really is. You know, keeping that average time of possession low, just bouncing it around, changing the angles of attack, and utilising the break side space. And you can see that Guzmán really knows that there's nothing he can do about the score.
And especially on beach, those quick disc movements can be so devastating for the defence. It's like when a zone is broken through, it's so hard to catch up, because a few steps on beach is a lot more than a few steps on grass.
Oh, it absolutely is. And that's one of the things you have to adjust for playing on beach, is knowing that the windows you're throwing to are a little bit different than they are on other surfaces. Hastebacker takes off deep. Reardon will put a bid in. Wonderful play. But Hastebacker, again, cool as the other side of the pillow, and low release break is too far out in front. Bit of a let off there for man down.
It's a rare mistake from Hastebacker.
So here we're going to see it again on the replay. It's Volkowski who throws that lead pass. Reardon's inches away, but just the overthrow in the end, maybe in a little bit of a rush to try and sneak it beyond the hand of Reardon. It's the first time I think I've seen Hastebacker make a mistake all week.
Certainly that we've seen on stream.
Here's Schwartz, goes back into the centre to Pletcher. Tries to find the underneath, and Reardon, I think, was maybe just set a little bit, wasn't quite expecting that throw to go. And now Mandan will try and recover on defense. Leading hammer over the top, finds Vitari. There's a little bit of creativity there from the Finns. Now just playing it sensible into the centre of the pitch. And again, they're using that give-go with devastating effectiveness. That'll be 4-all.
It is really nice that the wind has died down, because we're able to see some of these, as you said, slightly more unorthodox, slightly spicier throws, and seeing them complete and look so gorgeous on stream is it's a delight.
So perhaps there was an opportunity for man down to create a little bit of separation, but credit to the Finns for forcing the turn and then putting it in at the second time of asking. So you mentioned, like, that is something that we haven't been seeing, like that lead hammer. It's a great way of accessing the space, but in strong winds, obviously, a lot of teams think better of it, and then just purpose and then deliberate on the mark, getting them to commit one way, and then leaves the space for the break throw in stride for the goal.
And we see Vitari throw and then immediately charge up the line. There's a saying that the most dangerous person on the pitch is the one who's just thrown the disc, because the mark is facing the wrong way to try and you know, block any passes. So really good field awareness there.
Yeah, again, especially on the beach, as you mentioned, one step is often all you need. The fact that you know exactly where you're going, and you can, especially if you can do that fluid throw and go motion, you've already created that 1-2 steps of separation before the mark's on the move. So the reset goes from Barney to Tulchin. Now continuation down the far sideline to Lacrosse. Lacrosse finds an option, goes to the sand, but Barney does have the catch and goes to Lacrosse. Lacrosse leads that throw out to Barney. Barney puts it deep, going to invite the bid, and it was close, but no cigar that time. It's Matt Schaff who makes the catch. Nice slap of hands as well with a Remo, and man down back in front once more. This is such a good game here this morning. 5-4, the Americans lead.
Props to Remo for absolutely sticking with, who was that? Smith? Schaff, excuse me. All of the way, and really being on his shoulders, not you know, gonna give up any pressure. Woo.
We'll have another look at it here on the replay. That was earlier in the point when Barney had to do a little bit of a barrel roll on the sand to make sure that he could keep the disc up. And then Lacrosse finds Barney, has the confidence that he's got the separation he likes, and Arimo is trying to use all of that length, and he's not far away. But in the end, the throw was the precision was immaculate.
I will say an unfortunate side effect of not having any wind is that the flies are settling everywhere.
Yes, I think we might have some insect spray somewhere. So maybe we just kind of douse the tent in insect repellent.
I hope they're not bothering the players too much.
Yeah, I think maybe when you're on the move, it's not so bad.
Yeah, if you're on the sideline though and covered in sweat, you might be an inviting target for an insect.
Yeah, especially with the lagoon behind, which is looking just so serene and tranquil this morning. Here's the pull from man down, trying to curl it back in bounds. Is it going to get the legs? No.
Oh my word, it is!
Unbelievable. That is some pull. And Finland trying to get the disc out quickly, get themselves out of Callahan country, but they've done that brilliantly. What a pull that was. And Ty Volkowski, however, maybe in a little bit of a rush to get downfield. Can't find the throw. And now another break chance for man down. Here's Goldsmith. He finds Lebonge, the tall figure. We see him do a lot of damage in the end zone. This time he takes the reset. Swing goes to Seal. Seal, what? Purpose with the break and then using the length to squeeze that around. Hastebacker into Stewart and man down. Create a little bit of separation for the first time in the game. A team has a 2-point lead and it's man down 6, Team Finland 4.
Some uncharacteristic mistakes from the Finns. I am wondering if perhaps this is their toughest game, apart from obviously America earlier in the tournament, the toughest opponents they've had to face. So really having to find that extra level, both mentally and physically, is something they've perhaps not had to deal with too much thus far.
Yeah, both sides seemed very up for this game, but maybe man down have harnessed that a little bit better.
And I feel for Hastebacker there, because being small is an advantage on beach in some ways. You can move a lot faster because you don't sink as deep into the sand, but when you're on the force against someone a foot taller than you, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I can confirm. Not ideal. Although it would not surprise me if that was more than a foot in height difference.
Yes, definitely.
So man down with a break here would be able to take a 7-4 half-time lead. Colin Smith with the pink Eurodisc in his hands. Use the pink discs on the beach because it seems to show up better on the camera, especially on the white Sardinian sands that the island is famous for. And it's another blading backhand pull that's going to be difficult to field. We see it there, flubs it a little bit, and Koivikko will have to bring it right in from the back of his own end zone. Take advantage of the poach there. Something a little bit different defensively now from man down. I like this, just asking different questions of their Finnish opponents. Here's Sharanta. Sharanta just takes the sensible dump off. Boring, but sensible. Here's Kusanen.
Sure, the coach would be delighted to hear you call it boring.
I mean, it's not expansive, but it works. That is expansive. The blade downfield to Ristiniemi. And then again, blading over the top. Wow, that is the bladiest give-go I've ever seen. I think and Arimos squirts his way free down this near side to cut the deficit to 1 at 6-5.
Yeah, that's an interesting call from man down, knowing how cool, calm and collected the Finns can be on offense. And I know there are certain teams who really love to play against zones because they love having that sort of extra time and having players able to be more isolated in space. So I would be surprised if we saw that zone again from man down, especially given that there is very little to no wind right now.
Yeah, I don't mind throwing it in every now and again just to keep the offense on their toes. You know, every now and again it can just take a little while to adjust to what the defense is giving you, especially if it's similar but not exactly the same as what you've seen before. But that time, yes, you mentioned no problems for the Finns at all, despite starting that with bad field position.
Yeah, perhaps if man down just gave that little extra bit to try and trap them in the end zone. I mean, I say that, it is of course hard to sprint the length of a beach pitch.
It's not easy. See that, I had a little throw around after the games yesterday and I forgot exactly how exhausting it is. But then also I have barely moved during the last 2 years, such is the way of a pandemic.
I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat, or in the same chair, as it were.
High release, Lacrosse is going to adjust. What a snag by Steve Lacrosse.
Excellent read.
Balling that one in, and now they've got it on the far sideline with Schaff. Looking perhaps for Lacrosse again, instead they centre it and swing. Another nice low grab, this time it's Colin Smith doing the business. Underneath, Force lays out but cannot prevent it going through to Schaff, dumps off. Another upline takes off, high release, and they're utilising the height mismatch there. Tossing it up, Tulchin reels it in, and that is 7-5 and half time.
Yeah, I really feel for Hestbacher there. She was fine with, you know, positioning, close as she could really get, but there's not much you can do with a very floaty pass at that height. Are we talking too much about her height?
No. And, I mean, it's very appropriate that we actually hit halftime in this game anyway, because the halftime hooter, and it very much is like a comedy circus seal hooter, has gone in the background, and we will have a look at some of the highlights from this first half. Oh, well, I mean, that is, it looks even better on replay, doesn't it?
It really does. Slow-mo does wonders, doesn't it?
And then another nice low snag with the outstretched hand from Colin Smith.
This is all from this point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Not a bad point, you'd have to say, especially from a man-down perspective. And this is something actually that we haven't seen teams do. He's just kind of, he's a little bit more indoor style almost, just pick a matchup that you like and toss it up and let the big man go and get it.
Yeah, it's pretty foolproof most of the time.
Especially in weather like this, where, you know, where there's no wind, and actually you can, you can really kind of float those throws up and, yeah, get the tall players underneath it. It's weird. It's one of those things that you tend to get either when there is no wind, because it makes the hucking and the high throws easier, or when there is lots of wind and it makes playing kind of quote unquote good ultimate difficult. You also see teams kind of just play a little bit of skyball. Thinking about the Sweden versus Japan quarterfinal in 2012, when Sweden upset the hosts because they could just huck it to Sebastian Sperong the entire time.
Yeah, it's very frustrating when they've just got a good hucker and a tall player, and everyone else isn't really utilised, both as opponents and also players on that team.
Unless you are, of course, the hucker or the players.
Yes,
but
with the exceptions.
But even then, it is a little bit frustrating because you want to get everyone involved. Another deep pull for man down. Finland taking a little bit of time to get into position. Perhaps would have liked to see them stay a bit more connected to their throwers, but they've got lots of space downfield now. Shoranta makes the cut, plants and turns to go deep. The underneath goes to Arimo, makes that effortless looking snag. Here's Manninen, bid from Wang's a bit late, doesn't get there. Now Manninen resets back to Arimo, who is absolutely rock solid for the Finns as always. Here's Koivikko. Back to Arimo with a backhand force bid. He's not going to get there. Sharanta's at the front of the end zone and he's in for the goal. Good start for the second half for Team Finland, 7-6.
The commitment on defence that man down are showing. They are on the Finns' shoulders every pass if they're not laying out in front trying to get a D. And also really good defence, chasing down the pull. They must have heard me earlier. Marking out all the options and then the force coming in. It's almost like the start of a no-force zone, so incredible defence from man down there.
See, this is one of my, I know I've talked a lot about pulling in various streams in the past, is that the one thing that you can guarantee will happen every point is that someone will pull and someone will receive the pull. It's the only thing that you can guarantee will happen. And so you know that it's going to happen, and I would like teams to prepare more for that by, as you mentioned, chasing down the pull, trying to work ways of how can we make our pulls more effective. Either are we getting airtime underneath them so everyone can chase down? Are we blading them out of the sideline so we can set line traps? Things like that. And on offense, okay, we're catching it deep. Are we making sure that we're not setting up too deep downfield so that we're giving people easy options? Things like that.
It does seem that very often the pulling is just, I'm going to try and get it as far as I can without much further thought.
Now Finland's going into their defensive bag of tricks, and it seems to work because Lacrosse just underthrows that one, and it blades harmlessly into the turf. So the zone for Finland gets the turn. Hestbacher takes off, and Vasquio fakes it. Cross, clogging that lane, leaves, I think this is Taivalkoski free for the reset. And now the swing goes to Vitari. Underneath now is Vasquio, the coach. Vasquio fakes the hammer. Back to Vitari. Barney's getting active on the force. And now he's going to take off up line. Defender came in to close, but not quite quickly enough. And we are level pegging once more. The Finns break for the first time since the game's first point. We're tied up at 7s.
And again, that throw and go can be so absolutely devastating from Vitari. Just, dishing it off and then immediately charging up the line for the score. so hard to defend against. And I think a man down player even tried to peel off away from the stack to try and get in the way, but unfortunately couldn't get there in time. So we'll see it here. Just looking around for an option. He's got a free player, and then immediately no second wasted, and the bladey flick in for the score.
It's because that force from Barney, it's very square on, really trying to make a very strong concerted effort to stop that around break. And it means that actually there is a lot more space for Vittari to power up line with the defender already on the back outside shoulder. So, we're level again, sevens. I wouldn't like to call a winner in this. Well, I would like to call a winner, but I wouldn't like to predict who that is going to be.
Only 15 minutes left of this game, and it feels like we've only been here for about 10.
Right, it is a very enjoyable watch here on a beautiful Sardinian morning.
One of the first pulls that have actually gone out of bounds in this game. The pulling has been fairly spectacular.
Yeah, that time just got too much head and tailed off out the far sideline. So Pletcher is going to bring it in from the brick mark. Looks like Owasco is going to stay back and handle. They've got a couple of players on this near side. Do man down, Tolchin, and who again is slathered in sun cream, and Lebonge. And it looks like they're trying to isolate Stewart in the middle.
A little bit of a poachy look from the Finns.
Yeah, they are coming out with that zone again. He got the tail on the last point, so why the hell not?
Oh.
And that one, wow, agonisingly close from a Finnish perspective. Great bid from Mannanen, doesn't get there. Pletcher looking around, he's got Owasco free as the reset. Fakes it. Rolls her wrists over it for the backhand. Not quite in just yet, goes back to Pletcher. Thinks about the pop in. Back to Owasco instead. Owasco again with those fakes, trying to manipulate the defenders downfield. Takes the dish off instead. And they just about move the defense around, get them just shifting their weight enough to open up that little pop to Stewart at the front of the end zone. Wonderful zone offense there from man down.
Yeah, not a comfortable point, I would say, in terms of the last few passes. It looked slightly frantic and just having to find that that little sort of space to thread the disc through. I mean, but I am comparing them to the Finnish zone offense, which is very, very cool indeed, which is not to say they didn't work the disc very, very well.
I mean, yeah, you say that, you know, they did struggle perhaps to find that final scoring pass, but they didn't jam it in there. They were happy to take kind of little pops and crashes until that space opened up.
That's very true.
And then you see it there, just enough of a fake to get a Remo shading around on the mark, and that frees Stewart up at the front of the end zone for the 8-7 lead.
I feel like a universe point might be developing here. That's what my gut is telling me.
I would not be against it. That'd be our first of the week. I think it would.
On stream, yes, there have been some universe point finishes that we have seen on the schedule and heard tales of, but we've not been able to capture any thus far.
I would like to see it. From a man down or a Team Finland perspective, though, obviously they'd like to have the game out of sight before then. At the moment, man down, trading up, so they've got the, they certainly have the advantage. Nice inside break there. Continuation comes from Vittari to Taivolkovski.
Oh, Hestbacker free, but he doesn't see her.
Takes the reset, and there's a foul downfield.
Yeah.
All in good spirits, though, resolved nice and quickly. Good slap of hands. That's what you like to see. It's a lot of, also noticing a lot of compression sleeves out there on the legs of some of these players.
Such good separation Hestback is getting, but they're not hitting her as much as they have been previously this tournament.
Here's Vasquio. They're just trying to work it underneath, and they are churning yards, but it's not pretty, and it feels like it is a bit of a struggle. Eventually, Hestbacker comes all the way back into the handler set to get free. Low throw.
Oh,
is it up? Oh,
it
is up. What a grab.
Lots of sand flying everywhere.
Yeah, made it difficult to see, but the players were right there, and they did not hesitate in calling that up. And eventually they find a player free. It's the other Hestbacker, Michael. Usually we see him do a lot of damage in the handler set, but timed the deep cut nicely and got free. For the goal, it's 8 apiece.
Slightly grindier point for the Finns there. I feel like there are a lot of cuts being looked off where the handlers are being ultra conservative with the disc, or it's a little bit of nerves, discomfort creeping in. I'm not sure, but they got the point, they got the score. Still tied up.
Here is that layout. It is a wonderful grab. I think actually I undersold Vasquez first time round. And then a little inside break gives you the space off the line. Does enough to drag the defender over towards the break side. And in the end, Goldsmith cannot get a bid on the throw to Michael Heisbacher. And it is 8-all. Again, still tied. Just about 10 minutes left before the cap comes on.
Oof. I wouldn't want to be in either of these teams. Well, they're not wearing shoes. Wouldn't want to be in either of their team's sand socks right now.
It is an absolute barn burner here on a gorgeous Sardinian morning. I mean, this is life. It does not get any better than this.
Some very tired and sandy-looking man-down players plodding past our tent here.
I can sympathise. So here's a Remo with the inside-out backhand pull. Lovely. I just love watching inside-out throws. And rather than they catch it, they field it from the floor, looking for an underneath catch. Schaff sets himself and jumps to create kind of that consistent level and plane behind the disc. The Bond with a low release to Smith. Smith is going to shoot one through. Layout opportunity for Schaff. There you go. That is how you do it. Man down with the score.
I mean, we've heard it before, is that a good thrower throws to open players and a great thrower throws his players open. Very much spotting the space and thinking, someone could run there, so I'm going to throw there. And it was just absolutely perfectly weighted to run onto. I'm not even sure the layout was 100% necessary, obviously just making 100% sure. But yeah, what a throw, what a reception.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those where you're completely parallel to the ground, but yeah, goes down to the knees. Comfortable clap catch. What a grab.
Really, really gorgeous, gorgeous throw. One for the highlight reel, to be sure. Doesn't always need to be super flashy to be an awesome play. Can just be as simple as a nice lead pass.
It's all about the vision there for me, I think. I mean, obviously, I don't want to take away from Schaff's catch because he's done very well, but it was just a brilliant example, as you mentioned, of spotting a space, putting it up there, and then letting a receiver go and make a play and get themselves on the highlight reel.
So we are still trading, still neither team willing to give a fraction of an inch to the other.
Or a fraction of a centimetre if you're...
Yes, a sensible system.
No disagreement here. Going low to a Remo, makes the catch at about his knees. Heisbacher plants and collects the swing. Reardon trying to get active on the mark, make himself as much of a nuisance as possible, but a Remo gets the throw. And a Remo jacks it deep for Vitari, one-on-one, and he should get his fingertips to it, but no more. And I think he looks a bit frustrated because maybe a beat in there could get the catch, but it is difficult sometimes to spring off the sand.
And that would have had to have been a chest height layout, which, you know, we do occasionally see amazing photos of, footage of, but not very easy to do when you are running at full speed, and also the mental strength required to hurl yourself into the air at that height for a disc moving that fast.
Especially on sand when you can't necessarily get the spring off, and especially in the Great Grandmasters division where perhaps you don't have the athleticism that you may have had at your physical peak.
A man down looking for what would be a very important break at this stage in the game.
Yeah, reopening that 2-point advantage late on would never be a bad thing. Here's Stewart, fakes the flick and goes to the backhand instead. Into the centre is Bendix with those very distinctive stars and stripes leggings. Just kind of just about pops that one over the defender's head. Here's Reardon. Reardon looking around, just about squeezes off the dump to Seal. Seal's got to play it in space. Stewart now on the precipice of the goal line. Goes back, they're trying to utilise the width of the field, and the break is just too fast for Hayes-Backer to stop. Really catches it for the goal. Man down's 2-point advantage is back in force. With 5 minutes left in this game, it's 10-8 to the Americans.
So a big hill for the Finns now to climb to equalise. And I think they were forcing middle in that last point to try and neutralise those man-down deep shots, which have been, you know, giving them quite a lot of goals. So we'll see it again here. He's got an option in the end zone, but it isn't free. Choosing to swing back across the middle. Again, moving the disc very quickly, and Hayes-Backer, credit to her, she really goes for it, but not able to stop that round.
Yeah, the Team Finland defenders barely in the frame. Such is the freedom that Reardon was eventually given. So man down, again, peeking their noses ever so slightly further in front. And I think we've got a timeout here. Both sides have one timeout to use per game, as we see someone being, well, a couple of players being worked on in the physio tent. And this makes sense for Finland because they need to find a new strategy here in order to turn this game back their way.
Worth mentioning that both teams have one timeout apiece, which can be taken at any point during the game.
Including in the cap?
Including in the cap. So with there only being a few minutes left of this game, definitely makes sense to take that timeout and try and run the clock down a bit.
I mean, if you don't take the timeout, you don't get to keep it for the next game. So again, yeah, you're right, you may as well use it. The only risk sometimes, especially if you're on a good run of form and then you take the timeout, sometimes it can halt your flow. But you know, if you're Finland, for example, in this scenario, and you know you need to not only score, but you need to try and find some breaks as well. Taking a timeout, I think, just so you can maybe get a little bit of strategic advice, and with a shorter roster, even just kind of get a bit more energy and breath back. Not a bad idea.
I was just thinking, this is totally random. I've never seen a team take a timeout and then the other team immediately afterwards take a timeout. That would probably be quite bad spirit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I just think teams just generally wouldn't do it.
It would be very pointless, but also quite funny.
I have seen teams. I've seen teams take timeouts in the first point of the game before.
Was it a very, very long point?
No.
Ah, interesting.
I was mildly infuriated, to say the least.
Shout out to one of our producers, Milan, who is watching the stream, who misses the beaches. We miss you too, Milan.
I assume that he has now landed back in Amsterdam. So hello to Milan and Lainey, who were here with us for the first part of the week. They have now departed us, and they will be making their way shortly to Bruges, where our coverage of XCCF starts on Thursday. We've got one pitch there before the crew from here at the WGGMBUCC arrives on there, and then we've got 2 pitches from Friday to Sunday. So 8 consecutive days of Ultimate here on ulti.tv's YouTube channel. And if you want to stay involved for all of our things, you can like, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, or just give it a little tap. And you can find, and if you want to support us financially as well, you can do so. You can find the link to our Patreon in the description or www.ulti.tv. Here's Manninen for the Finns, looking underneath for Vaskio. Vaskio, he's got a deep available. He's taking it, looking for Ristoniemi, but the disc gets the wrong edge and tails and draws out of bounds.
The wind is picking up ever so slightly. It's more of a suggestion than anything else, but might have been just enough to tip the underside of that disc out of bounds.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen too many deep puts from the Finns, and maybe that's why, because it was a little bit grindy, as we mentioned, but they were consistently able to work it under. And that deep put, there was a little bit of separation in man down, knowing that the break here could be crucial. Picking the disc up with Koivisto on the force.
Iwasko on the sideline asking her team what stack they are in as they set up in a slightly square formation.
Maybe they're just trying to space out, make triangles. Lead throw down the line. Oh, that is inch perfect from Lebonge, who is clearly pumped.
Lots of roaring from Lebonge, as well he might. That was an excellent throw, really visionary play. And as he embraces his teammates, I feel that man down feel that they have this game in the bag at this point. We have less than a minute, in fact 30 seconds until the soft cap goes. So they will finish this point and add 1 to the score.
Yeah, 11-8. it's just they've found a little bit more in the tank as this game's gone on. Maybe, as we hear that the time is over. So as Ali mentioned, finish the point and add 1.
So we'll see that throw from Lebonge.
I mean, this is precision. Like, just finding the space beyond the defender, but not throwing it far enough in front for the covering defender to come in and get the block.
And a beautiful balletic leap over the line to land right foot squarely in bounds.
An apology for the lack of jingle, I think, for the hooter. It's all right, we got the message. Also, apologies to everyone. I seem to have got some sand in the system somewhere, so I will take lots of water on board before the next game.
I told you not to eat sand for breakfast.
Look, I thought that's why they were called sandwiches. We had this discussion yesterday. Hastebacker trying to manipulate the mark, goes around, and Arimo makes the scoop, and then again gets the break off. Thought about the continuation, did Kusanen, but it's not there, and instead goes back to Arimo. You can tell everything seems to have ratcheted up a little bit here for man down. Their tails are firmly up, and the stall count is getting high, and they have to go backwards. It's all in the handler set at the moment. There's not really the movement that they're seeing downfield that they would like. Arimo has an opportunity to put a lead throw out for Hastebacker. She's charging down, and I think she just lost her footing a little bit early.
That's really unfortunate. She was very free, but just not able to quite get it into her hands.
Yeah, the infamous sand monster seems to have got the better of her there. Just tripped her up a bit earlier than perhaps she would have wanted to make the bid for it. So man down now. Another break here would almost certainly kill the game. As Pletcher dumps off. Big call for the thrower to get out. As Seal winds up, lashes it deep, and maybe just jumped a little bit underneath it.
And that's got to be frustrating for Stewart, who was calling for the disc very free in the middle of the pitch. But Seal very much wanted that long throw, maybe wanted to really put the game to bed.
I don't think the deep look was a bad option necessarily. Just Shapiro got caught underneath it a little bit there. Again, we mentioned how difficult it can be to time your jump on the sand.
That's true, and also that disc was coming directly out of the sun, which is sort of behind the camera at this point. So despite the sunglasses, not an easy disc to read.
So Michael Hastebacker will slowly trudge his way to the disc. It's going to be Seal on the mark.
Finns have a chance to close the distance between Man and themselves.
A foul downfield, I think. Hastebacker is no stranger to sports live streaming. He's worked in the industry for 35 years.
35 years?
Yeah, in sports broadcasting and production.
Golly.
He's going to come under, David. He's going to come under.
Okay, when he came on yesterday, he said he was very impressed by a little setup here. For someone who spent so long doing this sort of thing, that really does mean a lot.
Oh, nice switch from man down there.
Good communication in this one. Arimo just waited up for a little bit, and Pletcher calling the artful dodger because he picked his pocket there.
That's nice. I might steal that one.
You're welcome. Seal with a delicious inside break across to Reardon. And now Reardon goes back. Here's Stewart. All the way back to Seal. We know that he has the arm. We know that he has the throws. But instead going round to the break side. And this time Shapiro secures the catch in the end zone. 12-8 now. Man down, really putting the hammer down at the end of this game.
That's now 3 or 4 on the trot for man down. They've really got this momentum, and I don't think Team Finland are going to be able to stop this train.
So 12-8, game to 13. Just getting confirmation on the sideline. You can see, I think it's Sophia Pereira on the sideline wearing that very distinctive bright orange skort. We'll call that a skort.
So it's a coral orange.
Coral, yeah, that's it. It's a very bright coral rather than kind of rather than a depressing bleached coral. Like an actual coral. So just going to rotate some more players on. Tim Goldsmith seems keen to play, get some fresh legs on. And I think maybe as the game's gone on, you've seen that they just have a bit more gas in the tank that having those extra 5 players on your roster can bring.
Yeah, Team Finland walking quite slowly to the line. This has been a tough game, and I think they are certainly feeling it.
So nice little shot there of Sophia next to the... I must admit, I'm very taken with these scoreboards.
Yes, I really like them. And I think the idea is that in windy conditions, the wind can sometimes add or take away points from the more traditional flip scoreboards. So this is a way to neutralise that problem.
It also feels a lot like almost like a charity drive style totalizer, like used to get on Blue Peter. You know the sort of thing I mean, where it just kind of goes up like a.
Yes, sir. I do know what you mean.
For those who don't, I'm pretty sure if you Google totalizer, you'd get the right sort of thing. So this pool is blading, and it lands pretty much on the tape at the front of the end zone line, and then comes to a stop. Shardlow, who's had a relatively quiet game. The lefty goes around, and he finds Vaskio. Vaskio, what a break that is, and Manninen with an equally good catch. Taivalkoski. Taivalkoski fakes low, fakes high, and then eventually goes around to Ristiniemi. He lasers one to Manninen. Manninen thinks about the continuation deep, doesn't like it, points to where he wants someone to go. The message doesn't get across quickly enough as Vaskio finds Taivalkoski working tirelessly underneath, and Taivalkoski with the scoring pass to Ristiniemi. They finally stop the slide, but it may be too little too late for Team Finland.
That was an absolutely gorgeous cut, and the cutting patterns from the Finns in that point were really lovely. Saw some 7 cuts. Every time there was a cut, the clear was also a viable option. Maybe if the Finns stick with this, we might have a slightly longer game in our hands. I certainly hope so.
I mean, credit to the Finns, because especially after you concede 4 points on the bounce this late in the game, it feels like it could be gone, but actually they're like, okay, it seems like we just need to get back to what we were doing so well at the start of the game, and even if we can't come back, at least we can get things sorted for our quarterfinal later today.
I believe it was one of the Mountain Beachers who said to me yesterday about one of their games. They said, we lost, but we lost with pride and dignity and fun.
Yes, and I mean, this is the thing, you can clearly tell that players are enjoying themselves out there. And I mean, when you look at where we are, it's a little bit difficult not to.
Yes.
So Owasco, nice early call to leave the pool for Barney. And finding the underneath through Owasco, fakes the backhand.
I think this might be the first time we're seeing Owasco and Hesbacher match up.
I think you might be right there. Here's lacrosse. Arimo's a bit late. Goes across into the centre of the pitch. Finds Owasco. Quick dump off to Barney. Keeping the disc, trying to move quickly. And now it's a little bit slower, holding the disc for a bit longer. That is some adjustment from Matt Schaff. And now Schaff goes back to Owasco. Utilises the around break, stretching the field laterally. Here's Barney back to Owasco.
The Finns seeming quite happy to let them dump it. They're just not allowing much upfield. Well, I say that. Nice inside shot. Ooh.
And that one, Arimo got a hand in there, but maybe a little bit of contact as he did so. And I think this is going to be perhaps an uncontested foul. Good spirit, even late in this game, even, with staring defeat in the face. Arimo very honest there, you have to credit that. The cross looking for the dump off, turns, isolates the reset in Barney, gets the backhand free. And they're going to take a timeout. You've got one to use.
Exactly.
So, last point of the game, if you put this in, why not?
Yeah, absolutely an opportunity to set up an end zone play, which teams are fond of drilling during warm-ups and during trainings, but not always that easy to set them up in flow. So starting from static is an opportunity to get everyone exactly where you want them and discuss who's going to do what in what order.
So 12-9 is the current score. Cap at 13, so man down need just the 1 point. Have to be 4 in a row now for Finland if they are to score a remarkable comeback. The winner of this game will take second in Pool A, the loser third, and regardless of who wins, we will see these teams later today, because after we do the tragic Hips Great Swedes game, the last pool match up for us here on the show pitch. 3:30, we get the second seed in Pool A, which at the moment looks like being man down. We'll play the third seed in Pool B. And then at 5 o'clock, the third team in Pool A, which seems to be Team Finland, will play the second team in Pool B before we go into semis and finals tomorrow.
And if you've been enjoying all of this Ultimate coverage and you're looking forward to more wall-to-wall Ultimate here on ulti.tv's YouTube channel, do give us a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. Just click randomly sort of in that general area so that you hit either a like button or a subscribe button. It really, really helps us out and allows us to bring more free Ultimate to the masses.
I mean, this is what we want to do, is we want to be able to share tournaments and experiences like this, and you know, we want to be able to do it without barriers of paywalls and things like that. And so at the moment, the Patreon model is a good model for that, but it does require getting the support, and I appreciate that times are tight financially coming out of a pandemic, but if you can, if you do feel like you are in a position to pledge, even from as little as a couple of dollars a month, every little bit goes greatly appreciated. You can find all the details in the link in the description of the YouTube video, or you can find more about what we do at ulti.tv. So they're just kind of pacing people out. It looks like they're trying to isolate these players. They've got that stack very far apart, partly as well because it will help to prevent picks. As Schaff works his way underneath for the opening pass, Lacrosse doesn't get it. The disc is low. Owaska goes to the ground, but saves it. And then a round break now to Lacrosse. No more than 5 yards out of the end zone. But again, credit to the Finns. They're forcing them to just about not get it in. That is low. Did he keep it up?
I would have said no from where I'm sitting.
I think Lacrosse was signaling that he thought it might be down. We'll have a look at it again on the replay. Whoa, I tell you what, that is very tight. This is very tight.
They had such an angle on it, it looked like the sort of nearer edge hit the sand. Depends how much of his hands are underneath it, but it looks like it'll be contested, maybe just too close for anyone to call.
Yeah, especially on the sand where it's not a level surface, it's a bit up and down. It can be tricky, so they're just going to contest it and send it back. A round break goes to Lacrosse. Well, he goes to ground, but he had the disc in hand. And he now centres to Stewart. This is such good red zone defense because this is such hard work for man down. But eventually they just about jam it in to Brian Barney. And that will do it. Man down, victorious here in this game, 13-9.
And what an incredible game we had here. Just sneaking that little shot through, not even really a break, just a straightforward pass, sort of running towards the break side, but so close all the way through the game. Man down only just pulling away right towards the end.
Yeah, it was close, but in the end, as you mentioned, maybe just a little bit of extra in the tank. So it's one of those things where, you know, numbers aren't everything, but I think probably that did have an effect on the game.
We've just been asked to give a dedication of Ashley Diaz, a friend of the man down team, who very sadly died 3 weeks ago as a crossing guard, protecting children while they were crossing the road. So Le Bon's just asking us to mention that on stream, and our condolences to all of those who knew them.
Yeah, more than happy to do so. It's a very sad time, but yeah, obviously our respects and condolences to all those affected, and hopefully your friends on Man Down did you proud with that performance.
So thank you very much to everybody who tuned in to watch the coverage on our YouTube channel, or if you're watching this back. Really hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, it's been. I think it was a thoroughly entertaining game. It looked like it was going to go right the way down to the wire before Man Down just found an extra gear that Team Finland couldn't quite match. They will take second in Pool A, Team Finland third. We will see both of these teams later today in the quarterfinals, but now we turn our action to Pool B, the first appearance on the stream of the weekend of the great weekend of the week. Keep doing that. Of the great Swedes, they'll be playing up against the ostensibly Canadian Tragic Hips. Ostensibly, because they are not all Canadian, but they are mostly Canadian. We will get that at 11 o'clock local time, so in about half an hour from now. So you've got enough time to kind of, you know, stretch off, shake yourself loose, get a little bit of water on board. We're going to do the same here in the booth before we get our last ball game, and then we go into bracket play this afternoon. So for all of our crew here at Old TTD, for Ali Thomas, I've been Benjamin Rees, and we will see you on the other side.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, LTV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Ulti.tv.